Shana Tova and Chatima Tova. Why don't you turn to whoever's next to you, greet them, welcome them. Most of us are members, some of us are visitors. Wish each other a good year. Since this year Yom Kippur is late, according to the secular calendar, Yom Kippur falls in the middle of sports season. Baseball is at its most exciting, football is in full swing, afternoon school programs are in high gear. So I was thinking of some recent studies claiming that the steady march of athletic progress might be reaching its final plateau. We're used to athletes who regularly smash records. At every Olympics, we expect world records. But scientists who track athletic performance say that if athletes do break records today, I saw that one record was broken last week at the athletics championship, that if they break records today, they squeak by them rather than smash them as before. And some researchers believe that we're approaching the human limit of physical performance. Their argument is that throughout the 20th century, better nutrition, better training, and better technology have resulted in one world record after another falling, but this physical progress has slowed to a crawl. In other words, what we see now may be as good as it gets, as fast as it gets, as high as it gets. After all, how many revolutions can a figure skater do? Can anybody ever do a deca? 10 revolutions? Will a human sprinter ever be able to run the 100-meter dash in 2 seconds? There must be a limit to physical performance. And we seem to be approaching it. It's a sobering thought. Yes, records will continue to be broken, but much less frequently, and at some point, perhaps in some sports, not at all. Billions of years of human evolution seem to be plateauing in our very days. In the absence of merging the human with computers, sort of creating cybernetic organisms, part human, part machine, seems like we're reaching the end of physical progress. But why haven't we seen an equally moral evolution? We have come so far so fast physically, but we are so far behind morally. Can anyone say with a straight face that we're reaching peak moral performance? Every day we see the devastation caused by our lack of moral progress. Wars, savagery, brutality, and unnecessary human misery. Peak physical performance requires peak self-absorption. The self-discipline and self-awareness of world-class athletes is a marvel to behold. It's one reason why we admire champions. Peak moral performance is the opposite of peak physical performance. By definition, morality goes beyond the self. Morality is about others. Athletic performance looks inwards. Moral performance looks outwards. Morality is about mercy, empathy, dignity, integrity, generosity, humility, solidarity, commonality. All of us can be moral champions. All of us can be better moral performers. Everyone can do better. We are far from reaching our peak moral capacity. It is a matter of our very survival. If we are stronger than ever, but not better than ever, eventually, brute force will overcome moral force with catastrophic consequences for the human race. Scientific progress untethered to moral progress will be our doom. We now have the technological capacity to destroy our species. Moral capacity is the only force capable of holding back the apocalypse. That's what Yom Kippur is about. It's the festival of moral training. Pledge to begin training this year. How to do better morally? How to advance towards peak moral performance? The same way we progress towards peak physical performance. We need to train like peak physical performers. We must have intense will and unbreakable discipline. We must practice being good. Thinking about being good, studying about being good are not good enough, and we don't even do enough of that. Moral performances and moral behavior. We must habituate ourselves and train for moral action. Like peak physical performers, we need a team around us. Family, good friends, moral and spiritual coaches who push, cajole, and discipline us to be the best that we can be. Train yourselves and your children for moral performance as you would train for physical performance. Settle into an exercise routine for moral strength training. Act as if the weight of the world is on you too. And lift moral weights. Do moral workouts. Spend part of every day practicing moral deeds. Don't get morally flabby. Get ripped. Evil should rip you up inside. We're morally out of shape. Too little moral exercise narrows our moral arteries and leads to heart disease, an inability to empathize. Like athletes, establish a target heart rate. The heart is the essential organ of morality. Get your heart right. Pledge this year to get into moral shape. Sit up when atrocities occur. Push up when political cowards turn away. Stretch to hold them accountable when they stretch the truth. Sprint to uphold what is right. Strive for high-intensity moral influence. Don't let resistance overcome you. Resistance builds moral muscle mass. Resistance sculpts your moral posture. Rep and repeat. Rest, rep, and repeat. That is the way towards peak moral performance. May this be a good year, a year of good physical and moral health, of success, prosperity, and peace. Chatima Tova. May you be inscribed and sealed this year in the Book of Life. We turn to page 16 and we rise in preparation for Kol Nidre.
Or zaru al tzadik ol yishrei lev simcha. Or zaru al tzadik ol yishrei lev simcha. Or zaru al tzadik ולيשרי לב שמחה. אור זרו על הצדיק ולישרי לב שמחה. אור זרו על הצדיק ולישרי לב שמחה. צדיק ולישראל ושמחה. אור זרוע לצדיק ולישראל שמחה.
בישיבה של מעלה ובישיבה של מטה, על דעת המקום ועל דעת הקהל, אנו מתירים להתפלל עם העבריינים. By the authority of the heavenly court and by the authority of the court below, with the consent of the Almighty and with the consent of this congregation, we declare it permissible to pray with those who have transgressed. Kol Nidre.
Kol Nidre vesare vekorame vekinoye vekinose Husevut. Oreste banna, oreya harimna. Dindarna Oreish te bara Vedi asana Yom Kippurim Had Yom Kippurim Ikaratna vehon Yehon Shiran Betelin umevutali לשבות.
All shall be forgiven, the entire community of Israel and the stranger who lives in their midst, for all have gone astray in error. Moses prayed to God, as you have been faithful to this people ever since Egypt, please forgive their failings now, in keeping with your boundless love.
ויאמר אדוני ויאמר אדוני ויאמר אדוני סלחתי כדבריך ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. אמן.
We remain standing for the Baruch Hu on page 22.
Please be seated. We continue together on 24. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, בחוכמה פותח שערים, ובתבונה משנה עתים, ומחליף את הזמנים,
ומסדר את הכוכבים במשמרותיהם ברקיע כרצונו, בורא יום ולילה, גולל אור מפני חושך וחושך מפני אור, ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד, ברוך אתה אדוני, המעריב ערבים. אהבת עולם בית ישראל, עמך אתה, תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו, בשוכבנו ובקומנו, נשיח בחוקיך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד, כי הם חיינו ויורך ימינו, ובהם נגה יום אהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem, Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת פעם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם כראשים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים.
אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
We continue together on 38. Truth and faith, these are fundamental to our existence. God alone is their source, and we are Israel, a people of God. Our sovereign saves us from tyranny, redeems us from its violence through countless wonders, from its brutality through great feats beyond measure. We are Israel, a people of God, the giver of life, who would not let our feet give way, the maker of miracles for us against Pharaoh, of signs and portents in the land of Egypt, the one who brought our people Israel from its midst to enduring freedom. Witnesses to this heroic might, the people thanked and praised God by name, freely accepting the reign of heaven. Then Moses and Miriam and all Israel sang to you this song of utter joy.
Utter joy. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh, Torah tehilot osefere malchutcha, malchutcha rabu ayam lifnei Moshe uMiriam zeli anu ve'ameru Adonai imloch le'olam vaed. You heard it, utter joy, everyone. La 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 la. Adonai mi kamocha merar b'kodesh norat v'kilot osefene norat v'kilot osefene malchut harav uvanecha b'kei hayam lifnei Moshe uMiriam zeli Adonai Imloch leolam vaed. Adonai Imloch leolam vaed. V'nemar ki fadah Adonai et Yaakov ugalo mir chazak mimenu. Baruch atah Adonai Gal Yisrael. Vayom Yechaper Aleichem Letaherchem Mikol Chatoteichem Lifnei Adonai Yitkadosh Shemeraban Yalmad Yivrach Yirotev Yamlich Malchotev B'chayechon Uv'yomechon Uv'chayeh Kol Beit Yisrael B'gala Uv'zman Kariv Imaru Amen Yehei Shemeraban Mevarach Le'alam Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitbar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei l'kudsha Rikuleila uleila min kol birchata v'shirata tusbechata v'nechemata dabiran me'alma Imeru Amen.
We rise for the tefillah on page 46.
Baruch atah Adonai,
Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, העליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. זוכרנו לבאים, ולחפץ במים, וכותבנו בספר החיים, חי חי אלוהים חיים.
מלך עוזר, ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה, אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל.
מלכי חיים חסד, וחיים הטוב רחמים רבים, סומך נופלים רפי חולים, ומעטי אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו בשני עפר, מכל מלכו ובנות, ומינו מלך, מלך ומחיה, ומצליח ישועה.
מי כמוך אל הרחמים, זוכר יצוריו לחיים ברחמים, ונאמנתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל.
Please be seated. You are holy, your name is holy, seekers of holiness praise you day by day. Selah.
And so in your holiness, give all creation the gift of awe. Turn our fear to reverence. Let us be witnesses of wonder, perceiving all nature as a prayer come alive. We bow to the sovereignty of your strength, the primacy of your power. We yearn for connection with all that lives, doing your will with wholeness of heart. Awe-inspiring is your creation, all-encompassing your transcendent name. Together. And so
in your holiness, give your people the gift of honor. Bless with praise those who praise you. Bless with hope those who seek you. Give your believers a basis for faith, true happiness for the land of Israel, true joy in Jerusalem. May the sparks of David, your servant, soon grow bright enough for us to see, a beam of light in the darkness, a promise of perfection.
And so in your holiness, give the righteous the gift of a vision bright with joy, a world where evil has no voice, and the rule of malevolence fades like wisps of smoke. Good people everywhere will celebrate the stunning sight of arrogance gone from the earth. You and you alone, Adonai, will reign over creation upon Mount Zion, home of your presence, and in Jerusalem, a city set apart by you. As the psalmist believed, Adonai will reign eternally, your God Zion, for all generations. Hallelujah. You are holy, your name is awe. There is nothing divine beyond you. As the prophet Isaiah taught, the source of all might is exalted through justice, the God of holiness made holy through righteousness. Baruch atah Adonai, HaMelech HaKadosh. Blessed are you, Adonai, holy sovereign. Together, you chose
us with love to be messengers of mitzvot, and through us you made known your aspirations. Among all the many peoples, you gave us a pathway to holiness. Among all the great nations, you uplifted us and made yourself our sovereign.
And so
we seek you and serve you, and celebrate our nearness to your presence. Your great and sacred name has become our calling.
In your love eternal, our God, you have given us this Yom Kippur, a day on which our wrongs are forgiven with love, a day of sacred assembly, a day to be mindful of our people's going out from Egypt. Together, our God
and God of the generations before us, may a memory of us ascend and come before you. May it be heard and seen by you, winning your favor and reaching your awareness, together with the memory of our ancestors, the memory of your sacred city, Jerusalem, and the memory of your people, the family of Israel. May we be remembered for safety, well-being, and favor, for love and compassion, for life and for peace, on this day of atonement.
Zochrenu Adonai Eloheinu bo l'tova.
Amen.
Ufokdenu vo livracha.
Amen.
V'hoshienu vo l'chaim.
Amen.
Eternal our God, remember us.
Amen.
Be mindful of us.
Amen.
And redeem us for a life of goodness and blessing.
Amen.
Favor us with words of deliverance and mercy. Show us the depth of your care. God, we await your redemption, for you reign with grace and compassion. Together, our God and God of our forebears, pardon our failings on this day of atonement.
Erase our misdeeds, see beyond our defiance. For Isaiah said in your name, "It is I alone, who wipe away your defiant acts. This is my essence. I shall pay no heed to your errors." And the prophet said,
"As a cloud fades away, as mist dissolves into air, so your wrongs and mistakes shall be gone. I will wipe them away.
Come back to me, that I may redeem you."
As you said to Moses, "For on this day atonement shall be made for you, to purify you from all your wrongs, and pure you shall be in the presence of Adonai."
Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'imotenu, kadeshenu b'mitzvotecha, v'ten chelkenu b'toratecha, sabeinu mitovecha, v'samechenu b'yeshuatecha. v'ta'er beinu li'avdecha be'emet, v'ta'er beinu, v'ta'er beinu, v'ta'er beinu li'avdecha be'emet. Ay, negadai, negadai, ay, 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 la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, v'ta'er beinu, v'ta'er beinu, v'ta'er beinu li'avdecha be'emet, v'ta'er beinu, v'ta'er beinu, v'ta'er beinu li'avdecha be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai, melech mochel לעשות לאבותינו ולעוונות בית ישראל, ומעביר אשמותינו בכל שנה ושנה. מלך על כל הארץ, מקדש ישראל, מלך על כל הארץ, מקדש ישראל, מלך על כל הארץ, מקדש ישראל. ביום הכיפורים. Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu be'amecha Yisrael u'tefilatam be'ahava tekabel u'tehi leratzon tamid avodat Yisrael. Yisrael Amecha El Karov Lechol Kore'av Hinei El Avadecha Echanenu Shefot Ruchacha Aleinu V'teches enayneinu Yeshuvecha l'Tzion. Baruch atah Adonai Hamachazir Shechinato Letzion. Letzion, Letzion, Letzion.
God who is ours, God of all generations, to you we are grateful forever. Rock and protector of our lives, your saving power endures from age to age. We thank you and tell the tale of your praise, your power in our lives, your caring for our souls, the constant miracle of your kindness. Morning, noon, and night we call you goodness, for your compassion never ends. We call you mercy, for your love has no limit. We call you hope, now and for all time. Together, and for all these gifts, God of majesty, may your name come to be blessed and praised, our gratitude a daily offering until the end of time. Inscribe your covenant partners for a life of goodness, and may all life resound with gratitude and faith in praise of your name.
God, you free us and strengthen us. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'eh lehodot.
Blessed are you, Adonai, whose goodness deserves thanks and praise.
Shalom Rav Al Yisrael Omcho Tasim Le'olam.
Ki atahu melech Adon,
Lechol HaShalom. לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה
בספר חיים ברכה ושלום. ברכה ושלום, ייזכר וייכתב לפניך, אנחנו וכל עמך בית ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני עושה השלום.
You ever feel that it's all too much? Every day another abuse, every day another scandal, every day another insult, every day another lie. The times seem out of joint. Daily political outrage, mass shootings, trade wars, the rise of a belligerent China and Russia, the continuing warming of the planet, the huge wildfires in Siberia over the summer, unprecedented heat waves in Europe and Australia, the rapid erosion of the Brazilian rainforest. How do you respond nowadays to children separated from their parents on our borders, or news of boatloads of migrants from Africa, drowning at sea, trying to reach Italy, with the same moral fervor as before? Or have you lost a moral step? Do you feel you are ethically, emotionally, and even physically overloaded, unable to keep pace with and weighed down by the affronts and profanities of our times, of a world that seems to be spinning out of control? Are you discouraged, despondent, demoralized, even depressed, feeling helpless, unable to make any difference at all? There's all too much suffering, too much chaos. Are you still engaged? Or have you checked out? Paralyzed by the bigness of a world that does not care about your small concerns? I'm checking out. Hakuna Matata. What a wonderful phrase. Hakuna Matata ain't no passing craze. It means no worries for the rest of our days. It's our problem-free philosophy. Hakuna Matata. There's so much anger nowadays. Ungracious, uncaring, ungenerous, and often unhinged. People out to rage about nothing, and people doing nothing about outrage. Do you find yourself fatigued by the spirited wokeful rather than awoken from your spiritual fatigue? That you are on overdrive, overburdened, and overtaken by problems not of your making and impenetrable to your undoing? Who doesn't feel this way? At least from time to time. How often can we be indignant? How many times can we rage against another mass shooting without reaching a breaking point where our conscience atrophies and our spirit withers? The more sensitive we are, the greater is the frustration, the tendency to admit our failure to make any kind of difference at all. The complexity of the world is crushing, overwhelming. Political leaders appear unable to chart the way forward. Some seem interested in just blowing things up, undoing what has taken decades to build. Others are more like bureaucrats, desperate to manage events that they do not fully understand or control. We do not feel in the saddle riding progress. Rather, as Emerson wrote, things are in the saddle and ride mankind, and doth the man unking. We are distracted, divided, dejected, discouraged, disheartened, and morally disabled. Part of me envies Jonah, the forlorn prophet of Yom Kippur. Must have been comfortable inside the whale. You can imagine Jonah, I don't know if you remember that Disney cartoon, like Geppetto, setting up a rocking chair and a candle inside the living room of the whale's belly. He could read Greek poetry or study Socrates, possible contemporary of the author of Jonah. He could be completely oblivious to the outside world. Nothing would reach him through layers of whale blubber. No sound, no disturbance, no disruption. Even the mightiest shofar blast would go unheard inside the whale. This prophet whom God so challenged could devote himself solely to himself. The world's cacophony of contention impregnable to his cocoon of contentment. It was the ancient world's first story of escapism, the human tendency to retreat into our own space, Hakuna Matata, to leave the troubles of the world behind when they appear too overwhelming. Instead of alighting to Nineveh to proclaim moral judgment upon it, which, after all, is the job of a prophet, Jonah escaped to Tarshish, as far from Nineveh as the ancients could imagine. The world's iniquities were so overwhelming that it triggered in Jonah the flight rather than the fight impulse. The book of Jonah warns that even prophets get discouraged. Even they want to hide. Jonah was so demoralized that he asked God to die. Take my life, God, for I would rather die than live. He was not the only prophet who prayed for death, unable to bear the weight of their times. I cannot carry this people by myself. It is too much for me, cried Moses. Kill me, I beg of you, and let me see no more of my wretchedness. Cursed the day that I was born, Jeremiah lamented. Cursed be the one who brought my father the news, a boy is born to you. Why did I ever issue from the womb to see such misery and woe? If you reach a point of alienation, desperate to disengage from the degradations of our age, I know exactly how you feel. I often feel the same way. I catch myself shrugging my shoulders and moving on after the latest mass shooting. Hardly registers with me anymore. I'm embarrassed and concerned by my inability to summon the moral indignation of Columbine, Sandy Hook, Stoneman Douglas. But to disengage from the fight is to leave the field to the armies of infamy and the captains of chaos who may be passionate, but are passionate for all the wrong things. To withdraw leads to a world that falls apart. The center cannot hold. The best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity. Sooner or later, we will discover what Jonah discovered, and what every society since has learned and relearned. We can't hide. We cannot shut out the problems of our world. Our 20th century prophet, Martin Luther King, said it best. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Whatever affects one indirectly affects all. I cannot be what I ought to be until you are what you ought to be. And you cannot be what you ought to be until I am what I ought to be. This is the interrelated structure of reality, said King, who offered that much better definition of intersectionality than what our faux prophets offer today. To run to Tarshish is to distance ourselves from ourselves, to shut ourselves off. To live inside the whale is to live outside the human experience. It's the opposite of safety. To be human is to be vulnerable. By empathizing with the struggles of others, we strengthen ourselves. We build immunity to moral disease. To shut the world out is to invite chaos that will eventually lead back to us anyway. Human emotions, human unreason, the human vices of envy, revenge, and conquest will hunt you down, even in your carefully constructed cocoon. They will find you even inside the whale, at the bottom of the ocean. You can't hide. If left unchecked, extremism will find you. As Herman Melville put in the mouth of Captain Ahab, death to the whale. God hunt us all, if we do not hunt Moby Dick to his death. I'll chase him round Good Hope, and round the Horn, and round the Norway maelstrom, and round perdition's flames before I give him up. Towards thee I roll, to the last I grapple with thee. From hell's heart I stab at thee. For hate's sake I spit my last breath at thee. There's no escaping the sordidness of those whom Melville described as morally enfeebled, who carry the hot fires of all the general rage and hate felt by the human race from Adam down. You can't escape. You can't hide from the degradations and the degraders of our times. They will spit their last breath at thee. So if escape is not the response, what is? There's only one response in Judaism: to fight back. The fight is what counts. The fight for justice itself gives meaning. We cannot retreat from the world. To be Jewish is to care about people in society. We are forbidden to disengage. We fight to the last gasp. To fight for others is to fight against alienation and despair. We know that we will not be able to finish the task. But Judaism does not demand that we finish, only that we not withdraw. Lo alecha hamlacha ligmor, velo ata ven chorin livater mimena. You are not obligated to complete the work, Rabbi Tarfon taught, but you are not free to neglect it. We are not free to desist, because to desist is to allow the instincts of empathy to deteriorate and the muscles of responsibility to atrophy. We are commanded to act, because our resolve weakens when we do not act. There's not enough oxygen inside the whale to keep the candle of conscience burning. It must be kindled conscientiously, constantly. Judaism is one giant proclamation of dissatisfaction that the world is not what it could be, and one giant struggle to create a world that ought to be. A believing Jew is a disquieted Jew. Our purpose is not serenity, patiently awaiting our passage from this world to eternity. There is, of course, speculation in Judaism about the world to come. But our primary focus was always this world. For Jews, engagement is required. Everything we receive from Jewish tradition pleads with us: get more involved, be more active, do not give up, never give up. Trying is what Judaism expects. We know that the wolf will not lie down with the lamb today, nor will the leopard lie down with the kid tomorrow. But we also know that human beings ought to be peaceful, that each of us ought to be able to lay under vine and fig tree unafraid. Do not give up. Do not retreat. Come out of the whale. Ve'eshma et kol Adonai omer, את מי ישלח? ומי ילך לנו? ואומר, הנני, שלחני. And I heard the voice of God asking, who shall I send? And who shall go for us? And then I said, הנני, here I am. שלחני, send me. like Isaiah, act as if you are summoned by a higher force. Do not let your conscience corrode. When it dies, you die, a form of spiritual death. The life of the Spirit is what gives substance to our limited days, sustenance to our struggle for meaning, and subsistence to our fragile community. Apathy, lethargy, and complacency hollow out our human essence, that capacity to care about and empathize with fellow human beings. When you feel spiritually down, overloaded, and overwhelmed, force yourselves to look at that picture of the refugee father and child washed up dead on the beach. Force yourselves to look at the desperation of hunger and homelessness in our country. Force yourselves to look at the misery of the inner city, to consider the deprivations of poverty and its insidious erosion of the human spirit. Force yourselves to look deeply into the eyes of the victims of gun violence, their torn bodies, and their shattered families. And then resolve to fight back in any way you can. If you are a writer, write about the struggle to straighten the crooked timber of humanity. If you are a teacher, teach not only mathematical calculus, teach moral calculus. Teach not only value, but values. If you're a preacher, preach God's demand for a just world. If you are an attorney, fight for justice. If you are well off financially, if you're privileged, learned, influential, or capable, use these gifts not to escape, not to find shelter from the world, but as a springboard to change the world. Use your powers for good. As Mordecai said to Esther, if you keep silent in this crisis, you and your father's house will perish. The extremists will find you. Who knows? Perhaps you have attained this influential position for just this crisis. Aristides de Sousa Mendes was the Portuguese consul general in Bordeaux in June of 1940. He attained this influential position during the gravest crisis of the 20th century. A devout Catholic, he concluded that he could not remain silent about the humanitarian catastrophe ravaging Europe. As the consul general of a neutral country, he could do something that would make a difference by offering visas of safe passage to Portugal. Sousa Mendes directly saved 30,000 lives, 10,000 of them Jews, many of them and their descendants never knowing that they owed their lives to this sensitive, courageous, benevolent soul. Even today, many have never heard the name Aristides de Sousa Mendes, because for decades, the Portuguese government buried his memory. After the fall of the Maginot Line in spring of 1940, hundreds of thousands of refugees streamed south, desperate to cross the Pyrenees into neutral Spain and Portugal, and from there to America, Britain, or any other place that would keep them out of the Nazis' reach. By May 1940, a mighty torrent of humanity had surged into Bordeaux, itself a few weeks from occupation. Men, women, and children, the mighty and the meek, Austrian royalty, the Belgian government in exile, Polish peasants. They were all desperate for visas. Spain allowed passage through its territory only if one could show a Portuguese transit visa. On May 17, 1940, Portuguese dictator Antonio Salazar issued a strict order to all his embassies and consulates that under no circumstances would any visa be granted unless specifically authorized by Lisbon on a case-by-case basis. Effectively, the Portuguese government choked off the only escape route. Day and night, refugees gathered on the steps of the Portuguese consulate, hoping for that magic signature that would unlock the doors of the gates of hell. Some could not endure the desperation and committed suicide in front of the consulate, witnessed by the consul general. Sousa Mendes stood at the crossroads. His signature on a piece of paper was the difference between life and death. The stroke of his pen would save. His apathy would condemn. He could do what most of us would do in these circumstances. Nothing. I don't hear a sound inside the whale. He could have reasoned like most of us would. It's not my job to determine policy. I simply follow the instructions of my government. I have a family to support. And in any case, what can one person do? This crisis is too big, and I am too small to make any difference at all. Or, Sousa Mendes could defy the Portuguese dictator and obey a higher authority, his conscience, his sense of right and wrong, the commands of the eternal God. The only way I can respect my faith as a Christian, he said, is to act in accordance with the dictates of my conscience. And so he acted. He knew the price of defiance. It could cost him everything. On June 14, 1940, like so many prophets before him who asked God to die, Sousa Mendes had some kind of emotional breakdown. He lay in bed for 3 days. We can only imagine his mental agony and his spiritual turmoil as thousands desperately gathered each day on the steps of the consulate. When the storm passed and the clouds of doubt parted, he arose from his bed. It was as if he was newly born, determined to carry out the will of God, come what may. He instructed the consulate support staff not to disturb him for anything. No food, no phone call, no business. He would come out when he was ready, he said. And thus began the most consequential 4 days of courage, valor, and nobility. In a frenzy of non-stop, single-minded heroism, Sousa Mendes created an assembly line of 30,000 visas. Day and night, he stamped the passports of those who had passports. And for those who did not, Sousa Mendes signed transit visas on ordinary slips of paper. He didn't restrict himself to Bordeaux. He also supervised the smaller Portuguese consulate in Bayonne, further south. In mid-June, Sousa Mendes set up a visa assembly line there as well. He even traveled to the border where he walked the streets, issuing visas on scraps of paper that any refugee presented to him free of charge. The Portuguese dictator was incensed. It took a month to shut down the visa operation and to recall Sousa Mendes to Lisbon. But by then, tens of thousands had been saved. Salazar's authoritarian rule lasted for decades, until 1968. He had a 32-year reign. Sousa Mendes was destroyed overnight. He was officially shunned and declared a disgraced non-person. The government described him as an emotionally unstable rebel and ordered that no one be in contact with him or his family. Stripped of his right to practice law, his diplomatic status, his pension, he lost everything. His good name, his position, his standing, income. He lost all his wealth. He lost all his friends. He lost his family, who were blacklisted. His wife, Angelina, died 3 years after the war. All but one of his 14 children emigrated from Portugal. Sousa Mendes himself spent his final years disgraced and impoverished, taking meals at a highest soup kitchen. In 1954, he died penniless in a Franciscan monastery. No one paid attention. There were no obituaries, no public recognition. In 1966, Yad Vashem honored Sousa Mendes as a righteous Gentile. It was only in 1988 that the Portuguese government finally dismissed all charges, promoting him to the title of ambassador and acknowledging the unique heroism of this amazing man. Sousa Mendes never regretted what he did. Even during the time of his greatest hardship, shunned and discredited, he said, "I could not have acted otherwise, and therefore accept all that has befallen me." I can't stop thinking of what he was reported to have told Angelina in June of 1940, upon making his fateful decision that would save the lives of so many at such a high cost to him. "I have it in my hands now," he said, "to save the many thousands of persons who have come from everywhere in Europe in the hope of finding sanctuary in Portugal. They are all human beings, and their status in life, their religion, their color, are entirely immaterial to me." And he concluded by saying these immortal words, words that reach out to us from 8 decades ago, urging us to get out of the whale and act. Words of soaring inspiration, describing the very sentiments that propelled so many prophets and freedom fighters throughout history to stand up for humanity and decency, knowing that they risked all. Aristides de Sousa Mendes said to Angelina, "I would rather stand with God against man than with man against God." Amen. We turn to page 82 for the Vidui. Our God and God of all generations, may our prayers reach your presence, and when we turn to you, do not be indifferent. Adonai, we are arrogant and stubborn, claiming to be blameless and free of sin. In truth, we have stumbled and strayed. We have done wrong. Please rise.
Eloheinu, Eloi Avotenu, Vimotenu, Tavo lefanecha, Tefillatenu, Ve'al titalam mitchilatenu, she'anachnu hazefarim וכשעורף לעמוד לפניך. אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, צדיקים אנחנו ולא חטאנו, אבל אנחנו חטאנו.
Please be seated and join us at the bottom of the page.
אשמנו, בגדנו, גזלנו, דיברנו דופי, איי 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 הבינו והרשענו, זדנו, חמסנו, טפלנו שקר, איי איי יצנו רע, כזבנו, לחצנו, מרדנו, נייצנו, שרנו, אבינו, פשענו, צררנו, כישינו עורף, איי 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 רשענו, שיחתנו, תיעבנו, טעינו, תיתנו.
Turn to page 86 for the Al-Chetz. We chant responsively.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בזדון ובשגגה, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בדיבור פה.
For the ways we have wronged you deliberately and by mistake, and the harm we have caused in your world through the words of our mouths.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך באימוץ הלב, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בטיפשות פה.
The ways we have wronged you by hardening our hearts, and harm we have caused in your world through careless speech.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בכחש ובכזב, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך ברכילות.
For the ways we have wronged you through lies and deceit, and harm we have caused in your world through gossip and rumor.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בהפלילות, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בסלסול הורים ומורים.
For the ways we have wronged you by judging others unfairly, and harm we have caused in your world through disrespect to parents and teachers.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בווידוי פה, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בהונאת רע.
The ways we have wronged you through insincere apologies, and harm we have caused in your world by mistreating a friend or neighbor.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בחוזק יד, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך במשא ובמתן.
The ways we have wronged you through violence and abuse, and harm we have caused in your world through dishonesty in business.
ועל כולם אלוה הסליחות, סחנו וחלנו, כפרנו, ועל כולם אלוה הסליחות, סלח לנו מחלנו, סלח לנו מחלנו, כפרנו. על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בגלוי ובסתר, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בפריקת עול.
For the ways we have wronged you openly and secretly, and harm we have caused in your world by losing self-control.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בגילוי עריות, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך במאכל ובמשתה.
The ways we have wronged you through sexual immorality, and harm we have caused in your world through consumption of food and drink.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך ביצר הרע, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בנשך ובמרבית.
The ways we have wronged you by giving in to our hostile impulses, and harm we have caused in your world through greed and exploitation.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בהלת צאן, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בנטיית גרון.
The ways we have wronged you through cynicism and scorn, and harm we have caused in your world through arrogant behavior.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בשנאת חינם, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בתרומת שפתיים.
The ways we have wronged you by hating without cause, and harm we have caused in your world through offensive speech.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בלשון הרע, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בצרות עין.
the ways we have wronged you with a slanderous tongue, and the harm we have caused in your world through a selfish or petty spirit.
ועל כולם מלוסליחות, סלח לנו וקל לנו, קבל לנו. ועל כולם מלוסליחות, סלח לנו וקל לנו, סלח לנו וקל לנו, קבל לנו.
We turn to page 98 for Shema Kolenu.
Shema Kolenu, Adonai Eloheinu, Chus verochem aleinu, aleinu. V'kabel berachamim, berachamim uvratzon et tfilateinu. Hashivenu Adonai elecha, Hashivenu elecha v'nashuva, Kodesh yameinu, yameinu. Shema Kolenu, Adonai Eloheinu, Chus verochem aleinu, V'kabel berachamim, berachamim uvratzon
We turn to page 106 for Ki Anu Amecha.
Yanu Amecha Ve'ata Eloheinu Anu Anecha Ve'ata Avinu Anu Avdecha Ve'ata Adoneinu Anu Behalatecha Ve'ata Chelkeinu Nachlatecha Ve'ata Goraleinu Anu Zonecha Ve'ata Roeinu Anu Karmecha Ve'ata Notreinu Ana Betulatecha Ve'ata Yofreinu Anu Rayatecha Ve'ata Noreinu Anu Segulatecha Ve'ata Kerobeinu Anu Ahamecha Ve'ata Malkeinu Anu Mamirecha Ve'ata Mamireinu Ya Elai, Ya la 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 la, Ya Elai, Ya la la la, Ya la la la, Ya la 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 la, Ya la la la, Ya la 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 la, Rachamo, Ya la 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 la, Ya la 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 la, Ya la la, Ya la 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 la, Ya la 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 la, Ya la, Ya la,
We now offer a prayer for healing. Mi sheberach avotenu v'imotenu Avraham, Yitzchak v'Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel v'Leah, hu yivarech et hacholim. Nicholas Peterson, Joanne Weinrib, Marsha Mountain, Joan Mayer Chemeno, Muriel Goldstein, David Ben Chana Moshe, Yehudit Batziona, Kalia Kleiman, Diana Weiner, Michael Abraham. And if there is someone for whom you are praying for healing and you'd like to share their names aloud with us, please do so now. May the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion for their health to be restored and for their strength to be revived. And let us say, Amen. We turn to page 114 for the Avinu Malkeinu, and we rise.
Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Koleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chatanu lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, Cham aleinu. מלכנו, בנינו בנינו, אבינו מלכנו, חוננו בנינו, כי אין בנו מעשים. עשה עמנו צדקה וחסד, עשה עמנו צדקה וחסד בראשנו. אבינו מלכנו, חוננו בנינו, אבינו מלכנו, חוננו בנינו, כי אין בנו מעשים.
Yontif. Before I begin, I'd like to say that if you have any children who can't sit for a 45-minute speech, they can stay. As Jean Valjean said in Les Miserables, who am I? Well, let me tell you a true story. About 7 years ago, on a wintry Sunday morning, my wife and I and our 3 kids were having breakfast at this tiny hole-in-the-wall coffee shop over on West 72nd Street and West End Avenue called Pier 72. It's been there forever. Anyway, we were sitting there eating our breakfast, and a woman came over to our table and said, "Excuse me." Now, at that moment, I worried that maybe my kids were talking too loud, or perhaps our coats were taking up too much space. It reminded me of one of those old E.F. Hutton commercials where, in my mind, everyone became quiet and kind of leaned over to listen. Anyway, she said, "Excuse me, aren't you that guy who sings with his sons at Stephen Weiss?" Well, yes, I guess that's who I am. But tonight, I stand before you in a very different capacity. For better or for worse, I've been drafted to be the president of the synagogue. And so, I stand before you here tonight to ask you for money. Now, when I first thought about this task of asking you for money, I thought I'd much rather be singing with my sons. But then, I did some research, as lawyers tend to do. Well, tzedakah, the donation of money to synagogue or charity, of course, is a pillar of Judaism. I knew that. But I dug a little deeper. Rabbinic teaching says that it is equal in value to all of the other commandments combined. It is viewed so highly because it encapsulates so many fundamental Jewish values: loving your neighbor, respecting others, repairing the world, performing righteous acts, and so on. So, leading a fundraising effort for an institution that is devoted to doing good is the highest honor and privilege of all. In fact, it is such a high honor, the chance to provide people the tools to make a profound difference or to change a life, that the honor traditionally is given to the head of the synagogue. It should feel good to ask and to give. So, since I'm asking you for money, I think it's only fair to ask, where does the money go? It basically goes to fund everything that you see and hear. What percentage of our revenues comes from fundraising and not annual dues? It's about 40%. To be frank, it's a bit unnerving when you go to a board meeting and you see a line item for fundraising and you see that it's relied upon for nearly half of our operational revenue. The bottom line is that what you see and experience here at Stephen Weiss takes lots of hard work and, yes, money. Your donations, they support our clergy, the very best who teach us and inspire us. Your gifts support our skeletal administrative staff, who work so many hours to make everything happen. Your gifts support this amazing air conditioning unit that we have tonight that's so freezing in here. Your gifts support our sound system, the very sound system that my boys and I use to sing tonight. Your gifts support our renowned Purim spiel. Your gifts support our efforts to fight anti-Semitism, support civil rights, and protect immigrants who came here like our parents, our grandparents, and our great-grandparents. Your gifts support our vast and vital programming and speakers. Your gifts feed the hungry at our emergency food program and shelter the homeless at our Next Step Men's Shelter. Your gifts comfort those who grieve for lost loved ones. Your gifts enable all who seek to join our synagogue, join our community. Your gifts support our security enhancements that we unfortunately need. Your gifts allow us to be a leading voice in the reform movement and a voice for good in the world. So, please dig as deeply as you can and as meaningfully as you can, as every member of our board has done. Our fellow members will be collecting your pledge cards at the door as you leave the sanctuary. In addition, please get involved in this place, as I did. Get on a committee, join a task force, attend one of our programs, check out our services, and listen to the wisdom and insights of our rabbis and the beautiful and soulful music of our cantors as they chant the words of our ancestors. Sing on the bima. And when you get a chance, I recommend that you go to that little coffee shop over on West 72nd Street. You never know who might come up to you. Have an easy fast, and L'Shana Tova.
We turn to page 116 for the Aleinu, and we rise as we are able.
עלינו לשבח אדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונה, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. שהוא בשמיים ויוצר הארץ, ומשל קרוב השמיים ממעל. שכינתו זו בגוב מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אלוהינו, אמת מלכנו, את פסולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, ידעת היום מיישבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת עוד ונאמר למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא. יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
Our thoughts now turn to those who have departed from this earth. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. We extend our sympathies to those who have lost loved ones in recent weeks, Mark Halleckman, and we remember the following yahrzeits of years past: Lorraine Abramson, Marilyn Wolfe Fisher, Arthur Florman, Ann Goldstein, Sarah Goose, Priscilla Garbino, Leon Harris, Alex Hastreiter, Daniel Hirsch, Elaine Lemichow, Harold Lerner, Joseph Orent, Jerry Panzer, Eve Perlman, Joel Pitagorski, Bilyuma Rashkovskaya, Glenn Rice, Harriet Rothfeld, Irving Sissenwine, Bernard Topple, Fanny Truggerman, Muriel Wallach Polish, Isidore Wertheimer. And if there is someone for whom you are saying Kaddish and you'd like to share their names aloud with us, please do so now. We turn to page 122 and we rise as we are able as one community for the mourner's Kaddish. Yitzgadal v'yitgadash shmei Rabba.
Amen.
Be'alma divrach yirteh v'yamlich malchuteh. V'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayeh dechol beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru. Amen.
Amen.
Yehei
Shmei
shmei
Rabba
Rabba
mevarach le'olam ulalmi almayav.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shemei dekudesha barichu. La'ela ula'ela mikol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechamata. Da'amiran ve'alma ve'imru. Amen.
Amen.
Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. V'imru. Amen.
Amen.
Oseh shalom b'mromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. V'imru.
Amen.
May the source of peace bestow peace on all who mourn, and may we be a source of comfort to all who are bereaved. Amen.
Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'immeru. Amen.
Please be seated. Just a few announcements before we conclude. Quickly, bear with us on security. If you don't have to bring a bag, it's better to leave it at home. Continue to bring food for the city harvest, which will be picked up at 3 o'clock here, non-perishable items. You'll take a look at the schedule tomorrow. We start at 9 o'clock for the early service, 11:45 for the later service, and from 11:45 through the beginning of the Yizkor, the afternoon service at 3:45, there are classes here that are taught mostly by our congregants and our rabbis. So the tradition is that you don't leave the synagogue for the whole day. So there's something for you to do here all day. And like, what else do you have to do, right? You may as well stay here. So you'll have something to do here, and really fascinating classes. The afternoon service starts at 3:45 with Yizkor, and then we'll go straight into the rest of the afternoon through Ne'ilah. If you've never been here, you might want to talk to people who have been here, because many people tell us in the afternoon that that is the most spiritual couple of hours that they experience throughout the whole year. You should be in synagogue anyway in the afternoon as we get to Ne'ilah, but in particular, if you've never been here, you should give it a shot. You won't regret it, I promise you. And at about 6:30 or so, for those of you who have welcomed new life in their family. We have a tradition here that we bless the newborns and new children who have come into our lives in other ways, in our family lives. So, and we've had years here where literally the entire bima has been taken up with lots of young people and their beaming parents. And I know that we've been pretty prolific here in the synagogue from last Yom Kippur to this Yom Kippur. So I hope that you will bring your children back here, and we'll have that very good blessing as we go into the new year with life renewed. Cantor Singer.
Hashivenu, we return again. Page 127. Hashivenu, Hashivenu, Adonai Erecha, Everyone, Hashivenu. Hashivenu, Hashivenu, Adonai Erecha, V'nashuva, Return again, return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return again, return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return to what you are. Return to what you are, return to who you are, return to where you are, born and reborn again. Return to what you are, return to who you are, return to where you are, born and reborn again. Hashivenu, Hashivenu, Adonai Erecha, V'nashuva, V'nashuva, Kodesh, Kodesh, Yameru Kekedem. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul.
I want to wish all of you an easy fast. That's the salutation in Hebrew, Tzom Kal. May you have an easy fast, but it's not supposed to be too easy. Reform Jews fast. But if you have health reasons that you need to eat or drink, you're obligated to do so. If you're pregnant, you're forbidden to fast. Children under 13, you can do whatever you want. You always do that anyway. For the rest of us, do your best. It'll make you feel good. Please rise. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
כן יהי
God
רצון.
bless you and protect you. Yair Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka.
כן יהי
May the light
רצון.
of life shine upon you and be gracious unto you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
כן יהי רצון.
May God be with us this year and grant us a year of peace, chatima tova. May we be inscribed and sealed this year in the book of life. Amen.
אמן. שנה טובה. Good job. Okay, go get some sleep.
Great job. Great job. I gotta give you. Great job.
You too. Excellent.
I like the play out.
What's that?
The play out was
Oh, you know, you gotta think of something, right? Everyone's gotta give it, right? Right, you gotta do it. Anyway, see you tomorrow.
perfect.